Chapter 1 Roots in the Mist. A past veiled in shadow nourishes a future that grows in darkness.
Callan lived in a village called Grimwood, where mornings belonged to the mist and the wind whispered year-round through the pines.
The stone paths were covered in moss, the rooftops crooked with time, but the people were warm. Life moved slowly, and time flowed with a patience too subtle to see. Here, people did not run from their pasts. They simply learned how to live with them.
Callan's father Thun struck iron on the anvil with arms like tree trunks, but he never looked directly at Callan.
His words were short, his commands precise. Callan knew he was his son, yet he never truly felt like he belonged in his father's world. The silence in their home was as cold as the stones of a grave. Whenever he asked about his mother, the answer was always the same. She vanished into the wind. But the wind always returned with the same song. He who forgets the dragon will burn in his own shadow. When Callan turned 17, he began to dream. A dragon, massive, horned, with eyes buried in ash, would stare at him, saying nothing, yet speaking to something deep within.
Each morning, he'd wake with his hands damp and a dull fire aching in his chest. One day, in his father's absence, Callan heard a hollow echo beneath the forge's old stones.
Digging carefully, he uncovered a hidden compartment. Inside were a faded map, part of a sword hilt, and words scratched in charcoal. The dawn blade, broken, but awakened, the mountain still burns. For the first time in his life, the emptiness inside him felt like it was filling. But with that feeling came fear.
For the first time, he asked himself,
"Who am I?" And more urgently,
"Who was my father?"
Chapter 2 Between Blood and Light. The road does not recognize the traveler, but the traveler becomes known through the road.
When Callan left the village, the sky turned a shade of rust for the first time that season.
In the distance, the black spare mountains loomed like a scar against the horizon.
No scouting party sent by King Ulrich had ever returned from those peaks.
Going there was madness, but for Callan, not going would have meant never truly living. All he carried was a half-burned map, a broken sword hilt, and the shattered mirror of his past. But he wasn't alone for long. Meeting Lyra. Callan encountered Lyra among the ruins of a forgotten library near the forest's edge.
She was tracing strange symbols etched into stone, her black violet cloak billowing lightly in the breeze.
Her eyes held a distant pain, as if she had seen something she couldn't unsee.
"Dragons don't just breathe fire," she said, without looking up. "They bend time. If you're going to face one, don't go alone."
Lyra was a runaway apprentice from the Shadow Academy.
She had abandoned the institution before mastering her craft, defying its dark doctrines. Once, a single miscast spell had dried up a village's entire well.
Since then, she swore an oath to use only protective magic, never destructive, a vow carved not just in her soul, but in silence. Callan found a quiet strength in her wisdom. Lyra, in turn, found sanctuary in his honesty. And so they walked together. Eldon, the blind cartographer. 3 days later, in a mist-choked pass, they came upon an old man playing a flute atop stone steps. Though his eyes were blind, he tapped the ground with such precision that it seemed the earth itself whispered to him.
His name was Eldon.
He had lived during the first rise of Gulja Kennet, the Shadow-Ring. Once a young cartographer, his sight was taken by the dragon's shadow, but he had learned to navigate in darkness.
As he often said,
"When the eyes fade, the ears learn the shape of the road."
He warned Callan and Lyra.
The mountain does not require feet, but heart. To climb it is to walk through the shadow of yourself. Then he planted his staff into the earth and added, "Still I will guide you. If this tale still has room for me, then let me speak my final words where it ends." From that moment on, they no longer walked only toward the dragon, but toward one another. Night tests the human heart. That night, as they camped, a low hum rose from the forest's depths.
Caelan dreamed.
A child's voice whispered in the dark.
Why are you coming?
I want to find my past. The past already left you.
If you chase it, you'll vanish too. He awoke with sweat on his brow.
Eldon was still by the fire, awake and waiting. You dreamed, he said.
Caelan didn't answer.
Eldon nodded slowly and murmured, Sometimes dreams scream what the heart dares not speak. Don't fear it. You are not alone. Chapter 3, The Path That Devours. Some roads carry not only the feet, but the heart,
and some roads walk within us.
The mountain saw them before they saw it.
The black shrub peaks were not terrifying because of their height, but because of their silence.
Their summit reached beyond the clouds. Nothing grew on the slopes. No birds flew above. Even the wind passed quietly, as if careful not to disturb what slumbered there. The mountain was alive.
And it was waiting.
The three travelers, Caelan, Lyra, and Eldon, had crossed forests, swamps, and shattered temples to reach its base after a week-long journey.
But this path was not only traveled by feet, it was walked by memory.
The Temple of Echoes. On the 5th night, hidden deep within a forgotten valley, they found a structure smothered in ivy, the Temple of Echoes. At the sound of its name, Eldon hesitated.
That place returns your voice to you, but the echo it changes.
It reflects your darkness back at you.
Caelan insisted on entering.
He was certain the second shard of the Dawnblade lay within. The scattered maps, the old runes, they all pointed to this place. The temple wasn't dark. In fact, the walls were covered in stone that glowed faintly like moonlight. Every sound came back louder, as if the air itself remembered pain.
Lyra was the first to stop.
A voice whispered,
You drained a village dry.
The child who died in your arms.
Don't you still see him every time you close your eyes?
She collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath, her arms trembling. Caelan rushed to her side, but it was Eldon who lifted her gently. It echoes not your voice, he said.
But your conscience. Caelan's inner cry.
The deeper Caelan ventured, the narrower the path grew. The echoes returned, but not in his voice. They were the sounds of his childhood.
He died because of you.
Your mother died for you.
You were never ordinary.
But you were never truly someone.
His vision blurred.
The walls pulsed with memory.
Then a warmth.
Lyra's hand on his arm, firm and steady.
You can't silence those voices, Caelan, but you can take ownership of them. We're all wounded.
But those who still walk are those who bleed.
Caelan closed his eyes and breathed deep.
Then, from somewhere deep within, a new voice rose. Not an echo, but his own. I am not my past.
But I walk with it. He opened his eyes.
And in the heart of the temple, embedded in the stone, lay the second shard of the blade. It glowed, not with light, but with presence. When Caelan touched it, it didn't warm his skin, it warmed his soul. Eldon's secret. As they stepped back into the open night, Eldon paused. He raised his hand toward the sky. Though blind, his face turned to the stars as if he could still see them. I've been here before, he said. When I first saw Shadowing, I didn't just lose my sight. I left my faith behind. This journey is not only an ending for me, it's a form of forgiveness.
Caelan turned to him. Do you want to go back?
Eldon smiled, faintly. No, but this time I'll walk not with my blindness, but with my courage. The mountain closes in. When they reached the foot of Blackshroud, the sky had changed. The sun had vanished, replaced by a sky painted in a rust-colored red. No birds flew, no wind stirred. All was still. The mountain had accepted their entry. But then, for the first time, a voice came. Not Shadowring's whisper, something different. Closer. A warning. Do not come closer, or everything you know will burn. Caelan, Lyra, and Eldon said nothing. because some words are heard only with the heart. Chapter 4. The Heart of the Dragon. Every flame is born from a memory, and some memories never learn to stay silent. 1. A voice rising from silence. As they neared the mountain's heart, time began to unravel. Day faded into dusk, dusk into an uneasy twilight.
The air wasn't hot, yet each breath burned.
Their footsteps echoed not on stone, but as if they were treading over the bones of the past. Eldon, feeling ahead with his staff, suddenly stopped. "From here, there is no map," he said. "What comes next will raid your heart, not your eyes."
Before them opened a towering black stone passage, coiling like the mouth of a great beast.
Darkness poured from it, not menacing, but hungry, and then came a voice not the wind, yet carried by it.
"At last you've come." The second shard of Caelin's sword began to tremble in his palm.
Lyra lit her runestone to create light, but it vanished the moment it touched the entrance. "This place has forgotten what light means," she whispered. 2. The appearance of Shadowring. When they reached the cavern's core, there was no ceiling. It was as if the mountains and sides had been torn open to the sky, and there, curled among scorched stones and ash, lay the dragon. Shadowring. To describe it was impossible. Its eyes burned not with fire, but with longing. Its scales shimmered not with darkness, but regret. Its horns were twisted, its wings folded, but even its breath made the earth tremble.
Caelin said nothing.
Because the dragon spoke. "You are the child who walked in my dream. The one born of your mother's cheers the one who carries the weight of the blade."
Caelin's chest tightened. "You know me."
"I am the one I'll try to forget."
"I was sealed within this mountain."
But the seal was not magic, it was memory.
"And you?"
"All of you. Forgot me."
"Left me alone."
The dragon leaned forward, its heartbeat echoing like the mountain's own. "I am not evil. I am the echo of the forgotten."
3.
The battle, blade and ash. Words fell silent, for some truths speak only through fire. Shadowring roared, rocks cracked, the ceiling crumbled, the earth caught flame. Caelin brought the shards of the sword together. Light and shadow collided. Lyra slowed time with her magic. Eldon murmured prayers in a forgotten tongue. The dragon struck Caelin. He was thrown across the cavern, but rose again, wounded, but unbroken.
A voice stirred within him. "Don't end it. Listen to him." But there was no more time.
Lyra raised her hands toward the heavens. "This spell will take my body, but it will bring out your truth," she said to the dragon.
A final burst of light exploded from her.
Shadowring's chest tore open. The ancient wound left by Sir Edric 1,000 years ago, it was still there. With a final cry, Caelin drove the blade into it. Silence. Then the dragon spoke. "Now I am no longer alone." Shadowring collapsed, breathed
and was still. 4. What was lost?
Lyra lay motionless. No flames rose from her body, no sound from her lips, but on her face, for the first time, there was peace. She slept like a child without guilt.
Caelin knelt beside her, whisper.
"Even in the world's darkest corner, you carried light."
"May your light never fade."
Eldon touched the earth gently. "The mountain no longer speaks. That is a good sign."
5.
A world without dragons.
When Caelin returned to the kingdom, people didn't know what to do. Some applauded.
Songs were written.
But Caelin didn't smile. He had not become a hero. He had only ended a dream.
He shattered the Dawnblade once more, into 4 pieces.
He left each in a different corner of the world.
Because true power should never rest in one hand.
He built no monument for Lyra. That had been her wish.
But every year he watered a tree in her name, and that tree was always the first to bloom. Eldon drew one final map.
Where the mountain once stood, he wrote only one word:
forgiveness.
And Callan. He returned from the mountain that day.
But he left something behind.
Perhaps his youth.
Perhaps his mother's voice. Perhaps the part of the dragon that was still human.
Whatever it was,
it taught a people to remember again. Epilogue and new dream. Centuries later, a child dreamed. A light fell from the sky. In the silence that followed, a voice echoed, "Those who forget the dragon forget themselves,
but those who remember
light the path forward."